All right. So now let us go to chapter number 5 of Unit 2 CMOD. The name of the chapter is the diagnostic process. What is diagnosis? A very common word used. The identification of areas for improvement and problems in an important element in developing a high performance organization. It is a method of analyzing organizational problems and learning new patterns of behavior. It is one of the most and indispensable step in the process of organizational revitalization. Diagnosis basically sees that if there is a problem, why has that problem occurred? What are the areas of improvement? Basically it is analyzing various problems of the organization, getting into the root cause and trying to give the perfect solution for that particular cause. It is so important that without diagnosis, you cannot proceed ahead and solve the organizational problems. If there is a problem, we cannot jump to the solution. We have to first identify that why that problem has happened. So going backward and diagnosing the problem. The chapter talks about diagnosing and analyzing various problems that occur in the organization. Let's talk about the diagnostic process, the cyclical process of diagnosis. First, tentative problem areas are identified. That suppose the problem is attrition rate is too high, or there is a lot of conflict in the organization, or that superior subordinate relationships are not very smooth. So like this, there are certain problems that are identified in a tentative way. Data is collected to see that these problems are there and why is this problem occurring. Then the data is analyzed and a data feedback is drawn. Now, after getting the data feedback and the analysis, if you feel that still we need more data, then here you can see, go back to collection of data. If you feel that the data collected is good enough or the quantity of the data is going to help you to give the results, then go to the problem areas. Here, more data needed now, go to collect data. More data not needed, identify the final problems. Client target motivated to work on the problem. The practitioner will say that these are the final problems that you have identified as a practitioner to the organization. The client will say no change at present. Then the practitioner client relationship dissolves and everything goes good. If the client is motivated to work on the problem, once again diagnosis is done, working on the problem causes, that what are the causes of the problem. Suppose attrition is the main cause. Attrition is happening because there is a lot of biases or prejudice in the organization or that employees are not happy. Then various strategies and actions are taken to see that the employees remain satisfied and the organizational environment become bias free or prejudice free. And the result is changed, and one is changed, the result is monitored. So this is the diagnostic process in an organization. How is the data collected? If you can see here, there is a step which is called data collection. How is that collected? The process of collecting data is an important step in an OD program. The probability that an OD program succeed is based upon accurate and in-depth knowledge of the client system. So OD practitioner can deliver results only if the OD practitioner understands the client and the systems that are being being practiced in the organization. Correct? So let us see that how is this data collected? Because if data collection goes wrong, then in that case, the whole process can collapse. So let us see. There are 3 stages of data collection process. The definition of objectives, the selection of key factors, and the selection of data gathering method. Objective of collecting the data has to be very clear. Why you are collecting this data? What you want to do with this data? Then what are the factors that are involved in collecting the data? And how do you gather the data? So you can see over here, there are 4 methods of data collection. Secondary sources of data, employee surveys, other type of instruments, direct observation. If you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the 4 methods of data collection. Secondary sources of data, that is through newspapers or through magazines, or you ask people, the secondary sources, which are already available in the market. Employee surveys, that is you make a questionnaire and ask the employee to fill the questionnaire. And interviews, you can conduct interviews with the employee, direct interviews that are open-ended and closed questions. You ask them questions, they answer. Non-directed interviews are informal interviews. So first is secondary sources of data. Second is questionnaire. Third is other type of instruments. And fourth is interviews. Now let us go to other type of instruments. The first one is sociometric approach. Second is thematic perception test. And third is direct observation. Sociometric approach is basically asking questions like, whom do you prefer to work with? Whom do you communicate with? Who helps you the most with technical problems? That is, what is your relationship between your colleagues? That is what sociometric approach tries to check. So it says that results, the answers that you give are represented in a sociogram. Star, isolate, mutual choice, one-way choice, and click. Stars, these are the people whom everybody would want to work with. This is the most popular category in the organization. These are the people who are selected by everybody. So this is stars. Isolates are the people who would not be preferred by anybody to work with. This is the person whom nobody would want to work with. Mutual choices, one employee wants to work with another employee wants to work with that employee. So both the employees mutually agree to work with one another. One-way choice is where one employee wants to work with another. That is, A wants to work with B, but B doesn't want to work with A. So it is called a one-way choice. And click, one of the most favorable situations where nobody has problem with anybody and everybody would like to work with each other. So this is one of the other type of instrument, that is sociometric approach. Then thematic perception test. This is called TAT, in which photographs, drawings, paintings or pictures are shown to the employees and they are asked how do they feel or what is their first reaction on seeing this picture. So this is also one of the instruments by which you can check the personality of that particular employee, right? And the last one is direct observation. That is, just sit and observe how the employee is working. So you can see over here, there are 3 stages of data collection process: definition of objective, selection of key factors, selection of data gathering method. Selection of data gathering method has 4 types: secondary sources, questionnaires, other type of instruments, interviews. In other type of instruments, sociometric approach, thematic perception types, and direct observation. So this was about data collection process. Then the data collection is implemented. That is, once the appropriate technique of data collection is selected, the actual data collection program must be accomplished. Designing, printing, distributing, and collecting the data collection instrument. That is, if you are making a questionnaire, you have to design, you have to get it print, you have to distribute, and all that things. Let us now go to this. That is, now finally the data is analyzed statistically or by computers. So data is collected, data is implemented, data is analyzed. And finally, evaluate the effectiveness of data collection. That is guidelines. Whether the data is valid, the validity of data, how much time you invested in collecting the data, what was the cost of data collection, and whether the data collected has been collected according to the organizational culture and norms. So this was about data collection, data implementation, and data analysis. Now, let us go to various types of diagnostic models. The first one is analytical model. The second one is emergent group behavior model. The third one is management practitioner model. The fourth one is socio-technical systems model. The fifth one is cause map and social network analysis model. And the next one is force field analysis model. The analytical model. It is called a difference integration model. Sound analytical models as the basis for planned change. For implementations that are planned, for planned interventions, this model is suitable. What does this model study? You can see the word that has been highlighted over here. The study and understand the interdepartmental issues. If you want to study and understand the issues that are being caused between the departments, interdepartmental issues, analytical model is the best model. So, analytical model, then the second model is emergent group behavior model. The emergent group behavior model is used when there is a study to analyze behaviors in work groups within the group. So this was interdepartmental, this is intradepartmental. You want to study the behavior of the employees in the work group. So analytical model first, second is emergent group behavior model, and the third one is management practitioner model. It analyzes basically 6 factors: planning, general business practices that are being followed in the organization, the finance, advertising, promotion, marketing, marketing research, personnel, that is HR. So it analyzes these 6 basic factors. Till now, we have done 3 models. The first one is analytical, emergent group behavior, management practitioner model. Now we go to model number 4, 5, and 6. Socio-technical system model, cause map and social network analysis model, and force field analysis model. Let us go to the 4th model, that is socio-technical system models. So there is a combination of 2 words, socio and technical. It analyzes the organization as a socio-technical system interacting with its external environment. Every organization consists of social systems, that is network of interpersonal relationships, and technological systems consisting of tasks, activities, and tools to accomplish organizational goals. These 2 systems are like 2 sides of a coin. They are interrelated and they are interdependent. Technological systems, tasks, organizational charts, activities, job descriptions, job specifications, all this cannot operate in isolation. That is, this system is only going to survive if the social system is linked. That is interpersonal relationships, behavior of employees, relationship of employees with each other. So this model says that you have a combination of socio-technical systems, which is a must for the organizations to be effective as well as efficient. Then next model is cause map and social network analysis model. Let us go to the models list. Now we are in the second last model, that is cause map and social network analysis model. Let us go to that. Cause maps are mathematical representations of perceived causal relationship among variables. So it basically analyzes causal relationship between variables by applying mathematical tools. So list of important factors like quantity, speed, frequency, quality, morale, these are all discussed, and then causal relationship among these variables are identified by the participants. This is called cause map and social network analysis model. And now let us go to the last model, that is force field analysis model. The force field analysis model says that the model views OB not as a static pattern, but as a dynamic balance of forces working in opposite directions. So this model says that organizational behavior is not static. It is not stable. It is dynamic. And there are forces that are working in opposite directions. So one is the force that pushes for change and one is the force that hinders change. Suppose the forces that push for change, these are called driving forces. They put pressure on the organization to change. Restraining forces are that hinder change. That is, they are acting to keep the organization stable. So there is a clash between driving forces and restraining forces. If the forces for change and the forces against change are equal, the result is equilibrium and the organization remains stable. So if the pressure on our organization to change, that is driving force, is the same as restraining force, that means there is a quasi-stationary equilibrium. The organization remains stable. Change will now take place when there is an imbalance between these 2 types of forces. and continues when the opposing forces are back into equilibrium. So quasi-stationary equilibrium says there is no change. Driving forces and restraining forces are actually equal. And when there is an imbalance between these two, that is driving forces get, more heavier rather than restraining forces, or restraining forces get more heavier than driving forces, then the change happens. So this was chapter number 5 of unit 2, that is diagnostic models. Let me take you to the first screen, which says that the chapter in which there is a list of chapters, so that you guys get absolute clarity on what is going on. So this video focused on chapter number 5, that is diagnostic process. And now in the next video, we will be covering chapter number 6, that is overcoming resistance to change. Thank you very much.